We're going to space.
Whole hullabaloo about you, man, and this mess you got going.
I would take an axe to a couple people's heads. I mean, I would go barbaric.
To a couple robots?
No, to maybe
really...
like a town, like Oblivion style.
Whoa, no, you just...
Sir, we're talking about robots.
Scabies is a that's also a staple of white culture.
Y'all nasty niggas, bro.
Is that white culture?
I believe
y'all can
scabies,
keep that shit.
Dirty.
But the black people, they smoke the weed and they get too relaxed.
I'm not getting taken down by no British cops.
Is this true, Don Juice? Is this true? You know the foreign affairs. Is this true?
It's propaganda. Just saying.
Howdy and hello, everybody. It's gonna be a very special episode tonight once again because you have me, Spaceboy Dandy, aka Zav, hosting this evening. And you know what? I have some special people with me this evening as well. We have Sweet B over here.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here this week.
That's it?
For the girl episode, yeah.
It is a girl episode. It's an all-girl episode, actually. Surprise.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. And then we have someone else. We have Boo Boo, a.k.a. Gigi.
Yeah, hey, y'all. I'm not Southern, but you know.
But you know.
I finesse a little.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so... we don't really have like a planned episode or anything, but you know, we'll talk about some shit. We'll figure out some shit. I mean, I guess we can talk about the thing that I guess a lot of women have been talking about lately. And it's been a pressing issue for a lot of us just in multiple ways. And I think just not as women, but as people, like this is an issue that we need to like figure out and you know, work through together because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we all need to be taking care of each other. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Kavanaugh.
Let's get to it.
I mean, it's only fair to think that there can be respect for everyone. Mm-hmm. And when you look at this case, I understand the justice behind it, that there isn't sufficient evidence to think that one thing or another happened. And it's true, she may have been assaulted by someone else. Or there is distorted memories since it was so long ago. But it's disappointing to think that you can just disregard that claim altogether and move forward with the plan that was there prior.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think that one can jump to conclusions off of what necessarily has been assumed to be true or not. I also agree with the fact that a lot of times women kind of jump the boat on what happens, you know? Yeah. Just because, you know, there are so many women that are affected in these kind of circumstances that sometimes, even if a situation may not be true, we kind of jump to our defenses because a lot of times we don't necessarily have that referendum to, you know, have that backing whenever that situation occurs.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. And I agree. You know, it's definitely interesting. I agree again, you know, technically, since there isn't substantial evidence to prove that he did those things to her, you know, like, I mean, what can you really do? However, and I guess it just kind of shows how sticky of a situation these situations are, and like how they aren't necessarily just cut and dry, easily handled, because there's so many different aspects and like, you know, factors that you have to take into account. I mean, number one, you have to take into account this took place how many years ago?
Yeah, a long ass time ago.
So just the sheer, like, I mean, people doubt your memory when you say something from a year ago. You know what I mean? So, like, just the sheer amount of time that's taken place, that in of itself, not to say that it places doubt on her story, but it opens up, like, you know,
like a questionable doubt.
Yeah, questioning, you know, like, okay, but for sure, was it that face or that guy or whatever, you know? But then again, like, on the same hand, when something traumatic like that happens to you, you know, you don't tend to forget details of who it was or how it happened or whatever. Right. Like, you know, I mean, it was traumatic. Like, I got in this really bad car accident, and I think it was in California, but it was actually in New Jersey. No, like, I mean, it's not, that's not really how that works. So, I mean, it's so hard. It's really so hard. But at the end of the day, these accusations, you know, they need to be taken seriously.
They do. I agree, because, I mean, you have to take into account that this is going to take precedent over many cases that come into the future. You know what I mean? They're going to shape the culture of how we handle future cases like this. How we handle this today is how we're going to handle it tomorrow.
And, you know, honestly, when I really think about it, I feel like the way this whole thing was handled was just to be a spectacle. Because it's, you know, if they were going to just go ahead and elect him anyway, like, what was really the point of going through all of this so publicly? Right. You know, like, because I mean, you knew from the get-go that there's only so much quote unquote proof. It's basically all like hearsay, like, you know, she said, he said type of deal. So, and it's been that way from the beginning. So what was honestly the purpose of making it such a public ordeal and dragging everyone into it only for, like, I just feel like it was just to literally, just to do it. You know, like, there was no purpose to it. Like, it's kind of sick. Like, I mean,
I kind of got a theory actually for it.
Okay.
I think that maybe perhaps it was a play on trying to, you know, persuade the public that they're all for, you know, basically feminine rights. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, if they bring up this case, even though they know that it's not necessarily going to persuade the vote, but hey, look, we're making it seem like we actually care about women out here and their rights. I mean, it's not really going to affect the way we decide, but hey, let's throw them a bone and seem like we actually care. Now, fuck that shit. But I mean, that's kind of what it seems like a little bit.
Well,
I'm
if
just
it's
saying.
all political, then that means she was put up to it. And I agree with her very tenacity to go and put her entire career and her person and her reputation on the line to say that something happened to her, for everyone to come forward and call her a liar and someone who is trying to manipulate people when she was claiming that she was abused. That's insane to me, that people would try to bash on her because she's trying to come forward with the truth. Even if she believes it was Kavanaugh or somebody else, why would you go on and trash her because she's trying to share what happened to her?
No, that's fucked up altogether. I mean, how can you downgrade an individual for something they've endured? I mean, you didn't endure that. Right. You didn't go through that shit, so don't fucking judge someone for it.
Exactly. You don't have the right to tell someone it didn't hurt their feelings.
Yeah, and you don't have the right to tell somebody that they're lying or they're not lying. Like, either side, you know, period. Either side. You can't say that she's lying, and you can't say that he's lying. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't fucking there, you weren't there, they weren't there, nobody was there. Except for whoever the fuck was there.
So you know? Keep your fucking opinion to yourself.
You know, as far as I know, you know, I listen to her side, I listen to his side. And the best thing that I can do is have an unbiased
And
you know,
he's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it's really interesting. Trump was actually going over that. He was talking about how, in this case, apparently, Kavanaugh was being put in a position where he was actually being blamed to be guilty until proven innocent. I mean, what are your takes on this, ladies? I mean, was he put in a position where he was found guilty and trying to be proven innocent, or
yes and no. I mean, but not in a way that it really mattered, because he wasn't actually found guilty. You know, I mean, it was just kind of more like
It's just,
you know, the women were just like, hey, fuck this guy.
It was framed too well. It was crafted too elegantly to believe that is true.
It's just weird. Like, you can just tell. Like, I'm sorry. I hate to be this guy, you know, to judge people that I don't know. But, I mean, he just has such a smug look. You know, like, he's done some fucked up stuff. I mean, it might not have been him to do whatever, like, those specific things to her. But I don't think that he's a completely innocent person. But with that being said, if he in his today life is no longer a dickish person, I can't really hold things of his past 30 plus years against him.
Well, and you can't.
That's not fair.
You can't rule out the idea that people don't change.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He may
it's
have
true.
been a very different person when he was young and fucked up, but now that he's older and he has a wife and children, he doesn't want to believe that was a part of him, nor does he agree that's a part of him now. So to be accused of these things, even if they are true or not, he doesn't want to hold that to his reputation when he's trying to become a part of the highest court in the land. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's not going to stand for that. And if that was true, that would completely tear down
I feel
the
like
trust that's been built in him.
what would be better if it was true and if it was him, what he, like, as an honest person would do. Now, I don't know how people would actually receive this, because whatever, but, you know, would to be, you know, hey, I may have fucked up in the past. I apologize. I'm willing to do whatever it is that I need to do to make this right.
right?
I don't want to continue with this, you know, barrier,
facade? Yeah.
like, you know, thing in my life. And, you know, hopefully we can go forward. I can make amends somehow or whatever. Just acknowledge that you fucked up and you're doing better now. Like, I think that's the main thing. But the issue is like, as good as that sounds, I feel like we live in a state where people don't really want to see you doing better. You know, once you're the bad guy, you kind of got to stay the bad guy. Fuck whatever efforts you got to do better, bitch. You the bad guy.
Yeah,
we hate
it's
you,
true.
and we love to hate you. So, I mean, it kind of puts people in a tough position at the same time to, like, you know, it puts people in, like, a tough position at the same time to, I guess,
Defend themselves.
yeah, to defend themselves, or like to want to even admit to maybe past wrongdoings, because it's like, wow, I'm doing so good now. Do I discredit all that I'm doing now for some shit way back then?
Right.
Because
true.
people will discredit what you're doing now for
Yeah.
some shit way back then, and that's the shitty reality. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you kind of got to
So
weigh
it's either
it.
you conform or you fall to the depths of it. So I see that. Interestingly enough, apparently he stepped down from his position as a professor. I believe, I want to say Harvard. Anyone want to correct me on where he was teaching?
I don't.
I mean,
actually
that kind of,
know.
I mean, all right. So if I'm right or wrong, the fact is he stepped down from his position as a professor. I mean, what does that kind of say about his position of being innocent or guilty? I mean, why not continue if he's
Well,
not?
What he's
guilty.
looking towards in the future would not allow him to continue as a professor. So, regardless of what his stance is one way or another, he's not going to admit to it, because that would lessen his integrity throughout the entire campaign. So where he's at, he's stood pretty staunch about, why are you digging into my past about me being a drunken teenager? It doesn't really matter. And her story is not reliable. Therefore, you can't make conclusions. So, and he sticks on the fact that he will stay neutral in any judgmental position. Regardless of what happened in his personal life, he can do his job and separate the two.
Shit.
Yeah. And I think that, it kind of also begs the question, like, not to say that everyone needs to disclose their abuse or, let anyone know, for that matter, if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable with it. But I do think that we should start encouraging more people when it happens to say something.
I completely agree.
Like, honestly, like, at first I was thinking about, like, as an adult, we should speak up and stuff, but, fuck that. As a kid, like, as a kid, like, we, not to say we need to be, like, planting these types of seeds in our kids' heads or whatever, but just having those safe spaces so that if something does happen, you can have a reliable, trustworthy account of it, and just, like, hey, this just happened. Something needs to be done. Not, waiting 2 months, 2 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be, because it's like the longer you wait, you hold that with you, and then you just you make yourself deal with it. And you don't have to be the only person to deal with it. Like, you have other people who will help you through that shit. And, like, it's just, I feel like that would be so beneficial if we could just encourage more people to, like, be, I don't want to say open, like you have to make a social media post about it, but open in the sense that you seek out help. Like, when you are abused and you think about, like, hey, I really wasn't comfortable with that. Like, don't force yourself to feel comfortable with things that you aren't comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that really is the beautiful part of this whole conversation, is the people have come forward to say, this is what happened to me, and this is how I felt about it, and I can understand where she's coming from when something happened and you'll feel comfortable sharing the details, simply because people are going to bash on you for it.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like it should be the social norm to be able to confide that you've endured something like that, And I feel like the longer that you have to feel like you have to hide from that fact, it creates this plausibility in whether or not you're actually telling the truth, like, in this case. And, that's not fair because, you waited all this time, I'm just kind of assuming here, if she is telling the truth, that she waited all this time to come forward about what she endured, and now, because it's been such a length of time, everyone's like, did it actually happen? Do you have your details straight? And it shouldn't be like that. There shouldn't be a plausibility in whether something that you have endured is, an opinion or a fact.
Yeah.
Time should not negate your story. No matter how much time passes, you should be able to share what happened to you openly and not feel hatred towards you or threatened because you wanted to come forward with what happened.
And that you're a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah. She put her entire career and her credit on the line. And she didn't come out publicly about it before, but she did reach out to her husband or therapist and said, this happened to me and I don't know how to deal with it. And she asked for investigation privately before this, and they didn't agree to it. And it wasn't until it was this public that it became an issue. And even still, it didn't matter. Like, in the end of it, it was just a big show.
Yeah. Well, then, so, like, I do wonder, so what actually is an appropriate punishment, for these types of crimes, if you will, and especially when it's been however amount of time after the fact, like, what's an appropriate just way to I guess reprimand the person for that thing, because again, if someone has within that time made all these other efforts to better and just increase their I can't think of the word, but not value of life, but
their character,
that, and does that all get negated automatically? Like, so how do you justly or fairly punish things like that?
Right. Especially if such a time has passed that the person has changed.
Mm-hmm.
He has a
Right.
family and kids, and he doesn't want to think that's a part of him, regardless if it really was at one time or not.
I think it is important, though. He should acknowledge, whatever wrongdoings that he has taken part of, because, you can't, as a person, you should just want that healing for yourself,
Right.
to just be completely open and honest, say, hey, this is me, and, but I'm not that person anymore.
Right.
Like I've done better. So please accept me for who I am now. And it's like you have to set that example. And I feel like more people shouldn't be afraid to set that example of, hey, I fucked up, but I'm doing better.
Right.
Do you think he would have made it if he had admitted to it?
No.
No.
He wouldn't have.
No.
And I mean, if we're gonna take a look at the way that things actually kind of run in our society, I don't necessarily think that this would fly either, because I think, the fact that you've committed such a crime, that kind of doesn't get swept under the carpet just because you had a change of character. Like a commission of crime is already like under due process,
Exactly. That's the type of society, we live in, though. It's so, because again, like we're just so ready to have villains, because I don't know what it is, but people are so thirsty to just have this moral superiority.
It's true.
Over anybody that they possibly can.
Yeah.
So, regardless of helping people not be shitty people, let's let them be shitty people, keep them shitty people, so we can feel better and say that we're not shitty people.
Well, we're naturally competitive. No matter what happens, there has to be a rivalry. Who's right, who's wrong. And so when it comes to an argument like this, there's plenty of people who can stand up and say, I had this situation in my life and it didn't feel justified. And this situation matches that lack of justification. Therefore, I deserve to have resolution. And that's not fair to put on someone else's case, especially when it's this high priority.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know all the details that happened. And sure, there's some shaky details about how it played out, but you really can't say anything else. You weren't there. You weren't a part of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, it's his life, but, it's actually interesting because it kind of reminds me of, and I don't want to do too many spoilers, but I last week saw Assassination Nation, that movie. So I'll say this, it's, in my opinion, it's about a 5 out of 10. There was one really, really good scene that lasts about maybe 5 or 6 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, and it just was really good. One whole long shot. It was really, really cool. But then the movie just kind of did that thing again that it was doing at the beginning, and but the concept in of itself was kind of interesting to me, and I said this from the beginning when I saw the trailers, that it reminded me kind of a Purge meets Nerve. And if you remember, Nerve was that movie where it was like they were watching the Dares or something, or like the Seers or some shit like that. I don't know. I remember I watched that movie though in theaters, and then we've all seen Purge, like, but I haven't seen the most recent one. But anyways, so when I saw the trailer for Assassination Nation, it kind of reminded me of like something that would be like a weird mesh of that. And when I saw it, it was in some ways, and in other ways, I don't know. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and pick apart the movie like as a movie critic, because just as plot wise and all that stuff, I'm not going to do that. But for the story in general, basically, it starts off with like, they live in a town, Salem. I guess it's a smaller town. And the first instance of hacking happens to their mayor. And it's like these pictures of him in like lingerie, women's lingerie, with other men holding on to his genitals.
Scandalous.
And all types. Yeah, but apparently I guess the mayor was not a fan of the LGBT community. So, it was a really big deal, and everybody was like, holy shit. And then they show the mayor, he's supposed to go to a like town meeting, speak with everyone. and he literally shoots himself in front of everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
It escalated so quick, but then it didn't really go anywhere with that. So, you know, but so that was like the thing. And then they hacked the principal of the high school. And this was actually a really interesting one. And I think we might actually get a little derailed here because so the principal of the high school, he got, I guess, bashed by everybody because he had pictures of his daughter at around age 6 or 6.5 in the bathtub. And she was dude in the bathtub. And so they're like, oh my gosh, this pervert is at our schools, and this is child pornography, and this is disgusting, and you're this and you're that, and you're a molester, and you know, it was really, really extra and really like reachy. But you know, sometimes people do that. But like, you know, the one of the main characters in the main character, she was arguing with her mom about it, and she was like, you know, there's a picture of me at 2 on the mantle. And I'm, you know, I don't have a shirt on. Is that child pornography or like, what are you saying? I mean, she's, don't go there with me. You know, that man is disgusting and all this stuff. But I feel like it was because it was exposed, you know, quotations.
Simply because she was naked?
She was naked in the bathtub. Yes. Like
Where,
a 6-year-old, his child.
Which you would naturally be in the bathtub. Like there are plenty of parents who take pictures of their kids in the bathtub and it's not pornographic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I literally scrolled through Facebook the other day and there's a picture of her kids and the older one's a boy, the younger one's a girl, but they're less than 2 years apart, both under 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I have a friend that I saw on Instagram, she just posted that she got banned on Facebook for 7 days because she posted a picture of her shirtless, like, I think 3-year-old daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, for sexual content.
I think sometimes, a lot of times in society, people kind of like have this need to kind of jump the boat on this wagon of progression that they kind of just jump at any opportunity they can to say like, hey, don't be doing this, like, even though it may not necessarily be the prime example.
And it's like, you're doing too much. And then also, you know, because the main character, she was arguing with her parents about it, and like her dad had said something about, you know, or she said, or he was like, you know, I would never look at you like that. I didn't see you when you were naked past the age 2. And she was just like, I mean, well, why is it really that big of a deal? And he was like, I mean, you're my daughter. Are you serious? And she goes, exactly. I'm your daughter. Like, why would it be weird? Like, you're making it weird. Like, you know, it's literally only weird if you make it. And I think nudity, honestly, is one of those things, not saying everyone needs to walk around here parading around naked, but I think it is something that's is interesting because inherently it's not sexual.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you start like, so if I sit here and I'm like, you know, talking to you guys and I was completely naked, that's not sexual. If I'm sitting here completely naked and I like start rubbing on myself and start doing stuff, start licking my lips,
Zav,
you know, then you could be like, whoa, wow, that's inappropriate. You know what I mean? But like inherently nudity itself isn't inappropriate, but we always see it as,
it's a cultural thing, I think. Yeah, we can't accept physical bodies for the natural beauty that they are. And that's part of the perception that there's a perfect version of what your body should look like, that you can't be proud of just what you look like naturally. And so you can't accept that in your everyday life. When parents bathe their kids, it happens all the time. But, you know, if you save those pictures, God forbid, someone's going to look at them 10 years later, you know? Like,
and be like, oh, wow, you must have been diddling that kid. Like, no, that's not what I was doing. I just thought my kid was adorable and wanted to take a picture of them. I'm sorry.
It's true.
Thousands of parents have taken pictures of their kids naked as babies. Like, when they're first born, they're naked. What else did you expect?
That's what I'm saying. And then it's like, what do you think? Like, honestly, like, I mean, I don't know. It's
true.
It's
I've got a couple photos like that. I mean, honestly, I think like you have a point. Like it has a lot to do with our culture. what we find to be accepting, what we find to, be a part of what we, sort of like share with one another. And it's kind of sad, not to streamline too far, but like we can watch violent, gruesome, like shows and movies and video games, but somehow nudity. Oh, wow.
Oh, man. You're so edgy. You're naked.
Oh, no. Wow, she was just shooting those guns, but now she's shooting those guns naked?
Oh, shit.
That's like the whole drama with breastfeeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me to think that it's such a big deal that someone has to feed their baby in public. Get over it.
Yeah, that just jumps back to what we were saying, just because you have a little a little display of nudity doesn't necessarily insinuate sensuality.
Yeah, like that's not what
like
everybody's here for, that's just a fragment
you're just
of
feeding
life,
your kid.
you know what I mean? But that's not everything. That's not all day 24/7, especially if in reference to breastfeeding, obviously people should be able to just feed their child when they need to. But now I will say, and this is kind of a throwback to back when we were on Clarence Beek's show, on Winter Park show, and we were talking about this lady on YouTube that does this tandem breastfeeding, but her kid is like 3, and the other one's like 2 or 1.5 or something. I don't know, but they're old. Okay, they're old kids that don't need to be on the boob anymore. But she like takes videos, and it's like of her, and she's just laying there, and she's got one kid on each boob, and just like always just got her boobs in the shot. It's all about the boobs. And see, that's one thing I can't get behind, because it's like now you are sexualizing something that isn't supposed to be sexualized, and you have your freaking kids in it at the same time. Like, bro, stop.
You're just attention seeking.
It's attention seeking, and it's pretty gross. It's like you're using an actual issue, or not issue, but like an actual thing that people go through and fight for, and like the ability to do, and you're making it like literally a joke.
Right. You're manipulating it to your advantage to do what you want.
Exactly. And it's just, that's kind of sad. And once again, you're using your children
of power, I feel like.
Yeah, that didn't fucking sign up to be in that shit. Like, I don't understand, but
yeah,
so yeah, that movie was interesting. There was also kind of this whole, I don't know if you would call it slut shaming debacle that went on, I guess underlying tone in the film, but more or less, well, okay, see, now the main girl, she was 18, but I guess she was senior, still in high school. And she was always texting some guy like on her phone named Daddy. We didn't know who Daddy was, but it wasn't her boyfriend, because her boyfriend was in her phone as his name. I forgot what his name is, but it was the guy, Bill Skarsgård, who plays It.
Not Daddy, though.
Not Daddy. That was not Daddy. And later, when everybody's getting hacked, she gets hacked. And so all of her photos, her nasty little photos and text messages to Daddy get leaked.
Uh-oh.
And then also who Daddy is gets leaked.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to know who Daddy is?
Who's Daddy?
Daddy is actually the daddy of the kid she used to fucking babysit.
Ew.
With a whole ass wife. And
a whole
wife and a whole clearly child that she used to babysit again.
Oh, wow.
That's twisted.
So, that was a whole scandal. And then I forgot how people found out, but that it was her. Oh, because her boyfriend, he figured out that it was her because he, I don't know, saw a beauty mark or some shit and was just like, oh, I know that beauty mark there. That's my girl. That's her. Damn it. This bitch. He told everybody else. And her parents kicked her out, and you know, it was weird because so her parents kicked her out. She was running down the street barefoot. And this part was in the trailer too, I think, where there's like these guys in a truck and they're like calling out to her, just yelling obscene things. And she like kind of runs behind a house and they like stop. And one guy gets out the car to follow her. And, you know, it's really disturbing. Like, I mean, it's a movie, so it's obviously dramatized. But I really do wonder, like, you know, do you think that just because someone, what you perceive to be a slut, that really means that you can just, like, do whatever you want? I mean, obviously.
Just make assumptions from there.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very, like, dramatized movie because all the people in the town started wearing face masks and shit. It was weird. I don't know. Like, I don't
quickly.
Yeah, it escalated very quickly and everybody. But I mean, you know, out of nowhere, everyone in the town was pissed and they wanted to find out who the person who was hacking everybody was. And so they're all running around getting their arms up, you know, like ready to shoot any and everything that doesn't agree with them. And, you know, it was nuts. And, you know, somehow they found out that, or some guy who was good with the techie stuff told them that it was the same girl who got hacked for being a quote unquote slut. So now everybody hates her for being a slut and for being the alleged hacker. And it was just so brutal and mean how these people were acting.
Just harsh.
It was really harsh. I mean, it was, I don't know. It was a movie and it was obviously extremely dramatized, but like, you know, it just makes you wonder sometimes, but it is kind of a reflection on just how blindly people like have this dumbass mob mentality, like where they just go with shit and they're so ready to have somebody to blame for their problems and their fucked up issues that they will put it on anyone else and they will let you be the bad guy so that they don't have to, and they will crucify you. And it's sickening. It's sickening.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a theory here, but maybe it's just that people themselves don't want to have to reflect on themselves individually.
Oh, hell no.
So, take responsibility at all.
Hell no. People don't want to take responsibility. What?
They want to basically distract themselves onto something else that they can deflect their energy and time on, you know? Because then at the end of the day, they're not looking at themselves. Yeah. They're looking at something else.
I don't have to think about how bad of a person, or not even how bad, but like all the bad decisions that I'm making if I'm telling you about all the bad decisions that you're making.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's honestly the most damaging thing though, because at the end of the day, you can't live someone else's life for them. Yeah. Like, you can only live your life, dude. So, like, focus on the shit that you're doing. Period. And if everyone focused on the stuff that they were doing, everybody would, like, it would all work out so much better. It would just be such a harmonious, like, special thing. But,
just focus on your own stuff.
And, you know, it's a little bit sick, but I think it's self-perpetuating because I think it feeds into itself in the fact that it feels good.
Yeah.
You know,
it's rewarding in its own sense.
Yeah. It is.
To have that sense of reputation and
moral superiority.
Yeah. Exactly. That is the term.
Yeah. It's really, because, and, you know, but honestly, and I think we need to ask ourselves this more, like, but what is the moral superiority even gain us at the end of the day? Because, like, all right, and because guess what, you know, and people say this a lot, but I don't think they really think about it. You know, all of our graves are the same size. Like, we all will die. Like, it's just it's a thing. It's gonna happen. And, you know, why are we wasting so much energy? We have so much energy that we could be using for great things, and we use it to kill each other, literally to kill each other and to hate each other and to just perpetuate that shit over and over again. And it's exhausting.
It is. I mean, come on.
It's so exhausting. I'm over it. Over it.
It's the eternal struggle.
It's the eternal struggle. And, you know, I mean, we're High School Musical, bro. We're all in this together. Like,
oh, copyright.
oop, flagged.
Shit.
No, but for real, it's like, it's just.
Why can't we all just get along?
I don't know. I mean, it's baffling, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, but who knows? I mean, well, we'll see what the future holds. I'm always interested to see if there's going to be like a apocalyptic scenario when I get older. Not when I get too old, because if it happens when I'm like old, then you know, what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm gonna just I'm bored up my house, I guess. I mean, because I'm definitely not traveling around nowhere. I mean, but
So what is the perfect apocalyptic age?
I say perfect apocalyptic age is 34.
34?
Yes.
Why
Would
34?
Do you already have kids at that age or no?
I probably would if my life goes the way I would like for it to,
So
but
apocalyptic age with kids would suck.
it would
Yeah,
suck.
no,
But I'm
that would
actually,
suck.
and this might sound bad, but I'm assuming they would die
Oh,
because
shit.
Well, yep, you would survive without your kids.
I heartbrokenly, yes.
Wait,
just
how
push
is this
on.
ideal?
Well, no, because see,
You
here's
want to
my
have
thing.
Kids so they die in the apocalypse.
No, I don't. Like, clarify. I do not want my children to die in the apocalypse.
You just
I
assume
just-
that they would.
I assume that they would because let's say that they would be at school while it happens. How am I gonna get to them in time? Their school will probably blow.
This is such a bad scenario.
I'm gonna say
World's
ideal
worst
age.
mom.
I'm saying ideal age maybe like late 20s. You know, because there's
no, realistically
Yeah.
late 20s. Like
Because then you're
'Cause
still,
there's
you're young. You've got
You're-
tenacity. You can
exactly.
fight some zombies if that's what it comes to.
like
and
like
a stronger
27.
sense, and a stronger sense of self. You know, you're at that point where you kind of figure it out a little bit more. You know, you're not just in that exploration state. You got a little bit of a path.
you want to fight for the rest of your life.
I think at 34, I would be looking for my kids, and then when I couldn't find them, I would just be like, well, what's the point? Like, I'm upset. But then I would try to go, but like half-heartedly, you know?
What about that makes it the perfect age then?
I
I'm
know.
confused.
We should
just-
reconsider and
I
analyze.
just threw a number out there because I was like, well, I mean, at that point, you've had experience. You've lived a regular life, I guess, enough. And,
Okay.
you know, but then again, when you throw in like a whole child and
No.
stuff, it
You know-
does make things sticky. So I guess maybe
Yeah.
around 27
No,
would
you
be
have to-
preferable.
You have to be like 45, 50s when your kids are grown and
Yeah.
they'll defend you.
Exactly. You know, I was going to streamline off of that because you said just a second ago, you know, like you've experienced life, you've enjoyed it. So, you know, maybe the perfect time to be in an apocalypse is actually when you're older.
In
you
your
know,
40s.
you're just like, you know, fuck
If
it.
you're
I don't
fit.
care. I don't care anymore. You know, I live my life. It's good.
Yeah.
If I,
I
go
mean,
tomorrow,
What you don't do is have a baby. Do
Yeah.
not have
Oh
a
my
baby.
God.
That's the worst possible. Like, why would you ever do that to yourself? Because, like, oh my God, like a baby? Bro,
No.
you've seen that movie, A Quiet Place? That shit pissed me off.
yeah.
That's,
no, I saw.
Wait, is that what it's
No,
called?
I think that's what
with
it's
Emily
called.
Blunt.
Yep.
And she had a baby, and,
And
the
she
whole
had
thing
a
was
fucking
coming,
baby.
And they're like,
That
"Don't make
made-
any noise. Like,
Like,
you have no
ooh.
control over it."
How the fuck? So, because I remember in the little report, it was saying this shit had been going on for at least over a year. That bitch was 9 months pregnant. So she got pregnant after the fact.
Right.
You willingly got pregnant with a baby that you know will come out screaming, will grow
Yeah.
up, and at least
No.
cry like uncontrollably for at least the first 3 years of its life.
Yeah. No.
Why would you
That
do that?
was-
That shit pissed me off. Like, I was like, that's just so unbelievable. Unreal.
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's such
Why?
bad planning.
It's-
That was so bad.
That was
Like,
extremely bad. And you know, just a little streamline here. They've conducted studies of women who have been like exposed to like extreme amounts of stress, whenever they're pregnant, and it has severe side effects on the children. Like
So now you have a messed up baby.
Exactly. I mean, they grow up with like developmental problems, you know, like their brain doesn't necessarily fully gravitate towards the like full capacity that it could. I mean, like stress strongly impacts pregnancies.
See, look at her. She's over here stressing out the baby. Over here, got the baby. And then I feel like because they put the baby in like a weird little box too. I don't know. That movie was ridiculous. I don't agree with that at all. But
it was good. It was a good movie.
Apocalypse situation. Would you prefer zombies or
what kind of zombies? Like the fast kind, or are we talking like the slow ones?
Oh, okay. Specifically, so we're saying fast ones.
Oh,
they're fast ones,
no.
but they're blind.
Fuck no.
Fast but blind zombies, or would you prefer that most people died from some infectious disease that you still could catch at any moment?
Ooh. Could you not catch zombie disease though? That was like
I mean, if you don't get caught by a zombie.
Oh, that's a good question.
See, all of these scenarios, all I can envision is finding some sort of bunker and just hunkering down, never leaving because the world is fucked.
I would want to leave my bunker because I would want to feel like a little ninja. But at the same time, I'd be worried because I'm very clumsy. So I think I'd get caught.
Yeah. I honestly think if I was like stuck in a bunker, I'd lose my shit.
I couldn't stay
that
in
kind
the
of
bunker.
confinement.
I'd have to go out
for
and
a length
forage.
of time. Yeah, no. That's not the way we're meant to live anyways. Confined like that.
See, the zombies have to kill each other off and then you're safe to go.
Wait, but I thought zombies like are eternal.
What if these zombies don't kill each other off? Then what?
I don't really know about zombies.
So then would you prefer the other one where a bunch of people died off from a disease that you may or may not be able to catch still?
I think it depends on the type of disease it was. Because if it was airborne, I mean, I'd be fucked anyways.
Well, yeah.
Like if the shit was like, you know,
like a face
direct
mask all the
contact. I don't necessarily know if that would really like deflect it. You
Wear
know,
a gas mask for the rest of your life.
Right, it really does depend on the scenario then.
Yeah.
There's too many details at play here.
What if, it was like a nuke issue then,
like
and
Fallout?
a bunch of people...
Then you would have to be in a bunker.
You would have to be in
Yeah.
a bunker.
Yeah.
You would have to do
So
that.
what would you do with your bunker to make you feel safe because you can't go outside?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because it's like...
I like the idea of a greenhouse room.
I like that too.
that idea.
That would be
I-
nice. That would
yeah.
make you feel... That would feel better. That would make me feel a little bit better. But then...
A little bit of outside, inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I guess maybe I would want something or somewhere I could paint
Yeah.
that doesn't feel like a prison room, mostly.
Someplace
It
to
would
be
just,
creative.
I couldn't let everything be gray. No gray. Nowhere was gray. No gray. Zero gray. No gray. No gray.
So basically, these additions are causing us to lose it a little bit less, less fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, a bunker wouldn't be ideal overall, for me, because like I couldn't imagine living out the rest of my life like that. But you know, greenhouse sounds really nice. I'd do that.
It might help at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing?
We're doing good. I mean, we're here at like 50 whole minutes. Well, it's 49 minutes
you
actually, but I
serious?
rounded up. I mean, we can wrap it up if you guys are.
No stealthing.
That was awesome how we touched all those subjects without even planning it out.
Yeah,
We
what's up?
did.
Boneless for the win.
It was
That's
pretty
what's
boneless. It was
up.
very smooth. Very, very smooth and sweet. Bringing you with the heat. Back to you on repeat. It's me. I don't have anything else to rhyme. So sorry. Okay. So I guess we'll just go ahead and end it now. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff, and I mean, we gave our opinions on those things as well. So I hope that you enjoyed listening to what we had to say. If you didn't, I'm sorry, but try again. You never know.
Yeah, you might like the flavor if you try it a different way.
If you try it a different way, you never know. I mean, hey, maybe you don't like pineapple on pizza, but you like pineapple slices in cottage cheese. Who knows?
Yeah, and baby, we're always mixing it up over here, so.
By the way, pineapple does belong on pizza. But now that we've got that out the way, I would like to say goodnight to to everyone. But, Sweet Bee, if you would, please.
Take care, brush your hair, and wear clean underwear.
You heard it here, boo-boo.
Good night, ladies and gents.
Bye.
Bye.